Hello everyone. Hopefully everyone's doing well, staying safe and healthy and warm. And hopefully everyone's sleeping well. As you can see, I'm a little not very awake right now. Uh, but yeah, I don't really have a topic for this week. I wasn't going to record for this week, but since I stayed home a bit longer instead of going to my parents, figured I'll, record something. And I do have a couple of news to share. First of all, if you watched my previous video about the public healthcare system in Finland being in danger, well, unfortunately, that motion went through, so they cut down hospitals. And if you want to go to ER in Finland, then hopefully you go during the daytime, because apparently they shut down quite a lot of 24/7 services. And I already have at least one example of someone in Lapland, which is already like the distances between towns and cities is, hundreds of kilometers at worst case scenarios. And I have a friend who lives up there, and he told me that someone he knows, their grandmother fell and, had to be taken to a hospital over 100 kilometers away. So, great going there, government, and I think, especially at a time like this, when we have a very hostile Eastern neighbor, we should be taking better care of our people, because shit like this is honestly going to decrease people's willingness to, defend the country. I mean, I think nobody wants to be part of a Russian empire or whatever they want to be. And apparently Putin was just bored when he started the war with Ukraine. So, great going there. Just something that I saw in passing while I was browsing stuff. Anyway, he apparently said that during his yearly end of the year conference or whatever. Anyways, and speaking of that stuff, so I live in a town that is considered a possible high target, and we actually have had some people who were forced to move because their houses were demolished or ordered to be demolished. I think it was by the end of this year. I didn't get to read the article in full because it was subscribers only, which I think is, certain things should not be for subscribers only. But because they lived right next to the airport here, and airfields, and especially an airfield that is also part of the Air Force stuff, that is considered a high target. And so, yeah, we are taking some precautions. I'm interested to hear what they're doing with the people who live by the border, because I know there was this short documentary or a news thing about a guy who lives right next to the border, like the area where you're not supposed to be going. And anytime he has visitors, he has to alert the border patrol, because they have cameras, watching his yard. And I think somebody was coming there and they had let the border patrol know, but then they had changed their car or something. So the border guard, they were calling this guy like, hey, you have a strange car in your yard. Who is this? So I don't know what they're gonna do with people who live in areas like that. But anyways, that's the bad news. Towards the end of the year. But yeah, I guess we're slowly preparing for something to possibly happen, which is kind of depressing. to think about. But yeah, the hospital stuff is just, I mean, I live in a town where they definitely keep the hospital because this is, you know, pretty big area and stuff. And yeah, but seriously, I'm so disappointed with the government. And yeah, anyways, but the good news, I have some good news as well. So some of you might have known that I have been working for this company now for 2 years exactly. And I keep getting these short contracts with them. And the reason why is because, well, originally I was on the money-making business side, and they have not been doing so great for quite a while now. There's plenty of reasons for that, but I'm not going to get into details of that because, you know, I want not to talk too much about my workplace. Well, this year, the money-making side, they went through a couple of change negotiations, which means that people were laid off, and some people were even encouraged to, you know, go, if they were nearing their pension age, they were told that, hey, you know, maybe you would like to start your pension time earlier. And, you know, some people were just kicked out completely. I know some people are working just 4 days a week, and you know, they don't of course get paid for the, you know, the 5th day, you know, stuff like that. Some organizations were shrank, you know, and some were just playing out, you know, what's the English word? Well, those organization structures, they no longer exist, okay? And stuff like that, you know. And so that's one of the reasons why they keep giving people, external workers, these short contracts. But I kept being lucky about that, you know. And now I'm on the other business side. There's several business lines actually for this company. So I'm working for another one that is quite big. And I know some people on this business line say that it doesn't matter what happens on the money-making business side. But I do think that those change negotiations are affecting how this business line is doing. So even though this business line haven't had change negotiations, there's still been, like, because there's been people like me who have short contracts. Their contracts were not continued because by the Finnish law, if a company has laid off someone and there's a new position open, or if somebody's short contract ends, then that job has to be offered to someone who was laid off and recently laid off. And so, for example, I have at least one teammate that I'm aware of whose contract wasn't continued because someone from the money-making business side needed a new job. So, and now we come to the good news. Because my role in the company is a little different from what the others in the team are doing. So I guess nobody from the money business line wanted to do what I do at the moment. I'm part of for example, a development project. And I actually, on Friday, when I talked with my boss, I actually introduced some development ideas to him. And he liked them, and he really liked the presentation as well because it was very well structured. And I get to continue with the company. So originally my contract was until the end of January. So I had about a month left. But my boss was like, hey, you know, how's the work been? And, you know, do you feel busy? And I was like, yeah. Especially recently, like last week was insane. And then he was like, would you like to continue for a few more months? And I was like, yeah. I mean, of course, I would have liked a longer contract, but I know the situation, and, yeah, I'm just happy to be able to work a little bit longer, towards the spring, summer at least. And, hopefully I'll get an extension again, or hopefully I'll become an internal employee instead, which is a more stable position. But I'm not, putting all my eggs in that basket. you know is that the saying? I don't know, whatever. And yeah, I get to save a bit more money. I have a friend who immediately asked, did you get a raise? And I'm like, dude, in this economy, in this company, are you kidding me? Why are you asking that? There might be a union, like, even though I'm not part of the union, the same contract still applies to me. There might be a union related tiny raise in around February or March, but I'm fine either way. Like, as long as my tax percent remains at a level that leaves me with enough money to keep saving and, enjoying my life. Especially because I'm actually planning a trip. I had thought about going back to Dublin, for a visit, and, browse places that I used to go to and check out what's new. Maybe check out some places that I didn't, get to see before, even though I did get to see quite a lot of Dublin. There's just some small details that I didn't get to see back then. But then I was thinking, why not go somewhere totally new? And so I've been looking at Portugal, actually. But we'll see, because, I'm still at the stage with my savings where I'm rather stingy with the money that I have, and I should be getting new glasses. I actually should have got them last year. But because, even if I get cheap frames, and even if there's a deal on the lenses, they have to be thinned so much that it becomes very costly. So I keep being like, I don't want to go, I don't want to spend that money, but I keep having headaches lately. So I think I should have new glasses. I think that's something to do in January, maybe. Also very picky with frames. Like, the trends in frames in recent years have not been very good. I've been very glad to have these that I have here now. So hopefully I'll be able to find these or something similar again. But yeah, those are basically the good news. So I get to, work a bit longer with this company. I do think that I'm gonna be even more busier. There's a team lead who wants me to take up more responsibilities, which I'm a little scared about. But thankfully, there's someone from the other business line starting up in early January. So I'm hoping to, get involved. Like, I was marked as a person of interest to that newbie. And so I should meet with that new person and stuff. So I'm hoping to piggyback on their training, and relearn some of the things that I was supposed to learn earlier, but then I got so focused on the development project that I've just mostly been focusing on that. But yeah, I get to continue working here a bit longer, which is good, because I think this is the longest time I've spent working at a company, like continuously working. So yeah, that's really good for my resume and overall work experience and stuff like that. Also, regarding writing projects, my cousin has been reading the story that I finished earlier this month, and she was like, this is so good. And I've also been working on the, checking the translations for another short story that I intend to publish in a few weeks. And I'm about halfway done. I know I'll have to recheck some of the earlier chapters as well again, but yeah, it's going pretty well with that one. And I've also been writing for my big sci-fi fantasy project. And I actually started on the intended last part of the series. And I was actually just laughing about it with a friend yesterday that, hopefully writing the last part first keeps me in check with the rest of the series, because this has had over 10 years to expand. So hopefully if I write the last part first, then the stuff doesn't get to expand anymore, that I'll have to have some guidelines for writing the other parts. I might also change the structure of the intended series a little bit, just to keep it a little more concise, in order, but we'll see. I also have started working on the prequel, so I have, ideas for that as well. But yeah, I'm excited for all the writing projects that I have. Actually, this morning when I woke up, I had a new idea again. So I'm gonna write that down and, try to finish before, starting on anything new. And yeah, anyways, just wanted to share, some news and some thoughts and some good news. I had thought about sharing about Finnish Christmas traditions, but every family has their different traditions, and there's plenty of good YouTube videos where they go through, for example, the types of food that we eat that is very different from other countries. And so you can look those up, because, I'm not able to do a video like that. So check those out if you're interested in seeing what we eat. The most important part is the ham. Ham? The meat. So we don't eat turkey, we eat ham. And it has to be, it shouldn't be too dry, but not also too moist. Something in between is real good. And then we have all of these casseroles, and they date back to the times when there weren't a whole lot of food items to choose from, and they had to be in an easily digestible form, I guess. So that's why they don't look that appealing, but they can definitely be tasty, But yeah, I'm not gonna get into that too much. And also, one thing I can mention about Finnish Christmas is that tomorrow is Christmas Eve, and that is the day generally when Finns, at least a lot of families, at least in my family, 24th is when we share the gifts and, have the Christmas food. And then on Christmas Day, it's usually just, more food, maybe visiting grandparents or friends on that day and sharing gifts then. But, 24th is usually for the immediate family and, sharing gifts with them. And in my family, we, back when I lived at home with my parents, we would share gifts pretty early on in the day. But for example, in ex-fiance's family, the gifts were shared around midnight. So yeah, different families have different traditions. So that's why I figured I shouldn't get into too much detail of those, but just a little cultural thing at the end of this video. Anyways, hopefully everyone has a very lovely and safe Christmas. And if you are spending it by yourself this year, then hopefully you'll still be able to, you know, have some warmth in your life and maybe treat yourself to something nice. And you know, if you have online friends, maybe try to arrange something with them and hang around together. And like, I know some people experience extreme loneliness at this time of the year and they don't really, you know, find joy in Christmas, but hopefully you'll still be able to at least rest a little bit from work duties if possible, and or from school if you're in that stage of your life. And yeah, stay safe out there, everyone, and healthy and warm. And in Finnish, to say Merry Christmas, you say Hyvää joulua. And then, you know, for if you want to also say Happy New Year in the same sentence, you can say Onnellista uutta vuotta. Or some people say turvallista uutta vuotta, which means have a safe new year. And I think that refers to, you know, not just people using fireworks, but, you know, they often use those fireworks when they have had a little few drinks, you know. So yeah, hyvää joulua, everyone. Enjoy the holidays and see you guys next week. Bye.